It was Christmas Eve and Kiara was in the car with me on our way to church. We were crossing oncoming traffic when a motorbike hit the passenger door and hit Kiara on the head. People ran to help, paramedics came, we were rushed off to the hospital. A specialist physician, a friend of ours, stepped in and assessed the situation. It turned out that Kiara had fractured her skull. It was only really when he put his arms around Richard and I and started praying with us, life and not death, that we realized just how serious the situation was.
On Christmas morning, my dad received a phone call to say that my sister needed to be rushed into theatre a second time, and he just fell to his knees.
Morning, friends. I know some of you are in church services already. Please, can you pray for Kiara? She is being rushed into surgery now. Her brain has swollen and it is now life and death, and they're having to remove half her skull on the left-hand side to give any chance of survival. Thank you, friends.
I met the doctor after the first surgery and he said it had been a success, and then received a dreaded phone call the next morning as we were gathering up the family, as he said, she's all prepped, we need your permission to operate right now. She's on the table, we need to operate right now. And he said that it had become a global brain injury of the worst kind, and they needed to do a craniotomy and remove as much of the skull on her left side that they could. We eventually heard the news that we were to expect the worst outcome, and it was at that point that he suggested that we call our family in to say goodbye to her.
Unfortunately, even after the operation, her brain pressure continued to rise, restricting the flow of oxygen. During the night, she slipped into the deepest coma on the charts. Her posturing showed that her brain was no longer communicating with her body.
You don't expect these things to happen, and sometimes you wish that you could have made different decisions and said different things.
My darling Kiara, you are everything. As we wait by your bedside, we know that this body no longer serves you the way it did. It still looks perfectly beautiful, mind you, but I know you will never be free to dance again while you remain in it. We want you to get your next one, the one that will last forever. I used to think that to lose a child was such a waste, that all the time and energy poured into them would never get to reach its potential. What a silly thought I now realize that is. Not a minute of your 13 years has been a waste. You have blessed me beyond measure every day. Your life has brought immeasurable blessing to countless people, and His glory has been revealed by your brilliance. Every dance move you have perfected, every intellectual challenge you have mastered, every book you have read has shown off His creative genius. When Kiara went in for her first surgery on Christmas Eve, we went home to explain to our other children what had happened. After a few hours, Richard went back to receive Kiara out of surgery at about 1 in the morning. And it was the first time I found myself alone. And I just took my Bible and had a moment with God and just said, you have to give me a word. I need to have something to hold on to. And the scripture that came to me was a scripture that says, keep hope alive as you long for God to come through for you. People took hold of it and it became a hashtag. We were given t-shirts with Keep Hope Alive that had been made into a logo, and on the logo is a picture of Kiara has been incorporated into the word hope. It kind of got a life of its own.
After that, Kiara remained in a coma for a week, with the doctor unable to give us any hope. Even if she were to wake up from the coma, there was no certainty of what her future would hold.
The day after Boxing Day, I called a friend of mine in, Nicole. She'd written a song.
I sat there holding her hand and I just started to softly hum. Jax actually just said, can you start singing? So I slowly started to hum it and then started to sing.
As she was singing, her pressure readings just started dropping, and it stayed there from that day forward.
We decided to make up a dance. We were like, this is Kiara's part, she's going to do this. We knew that she was going to dance with us. And we gave her a really nice part of the dance.
How high do you let hope carry you? We're not sure how many times we can take the fall from high hopes all the way to rock bottom. We're still bruised, so we're now ascending the hill of hope, but with fear and trepidation.
The first miracle was the community that gathered around us, and not just physically at the hospital, but actually the global community. We received messages from all around the world, prayer, encouragement. I think the unity that was displayed was an incredible miracle that resulted in the hospital after 3 days opening up their day ward to us, which had been closed for the holidays, that people had a place to come 24 hours a day to pray, to encourage, to support. The second miracle was that people believed that they could hear God again. Many people had forgotten how to hear his voice or had wondered whether he would even talk to them. We've heard many stories of people that God had said to them that Kiara would wake up and make a full recovery.
And the third miracle, not the biggest, but definitely the one that got the most attention. Kiara woke up.
Hello, world.
Richard had prayed for Kiara to be returned to us in her original form, with her kindness, her servant heart, her love of touch. One of Kiara's favourite things to do with her daddy has always been to cup his face and stroke his beard. On the 1st of January, mid-morning, she reaches up and lovingly strokes his beard and then runs her fingers through his hair. In the afternoon, my turn comes. I lean close to her, hoping, and she reaches up and strokes my face with her hand. I ask Kiara if she's feeling brave. She nods her head. I ask her if she's afraid. She shakes her head. It's hard not to do cartwheels down the hospital passage. We go to sleep that night, knowing we have a daughter. She is alive, she is beautiful, she is ours. This day we have life, we have sunshine. This day we are not mourning our daughter.
She's gone on to relearn how to walk, to talk, to do puzzles. Her academic progress was moving forward on a daily basis. And after a short time with us back home, with her head carefully protected by a helmet, it was time for her to go back in for her skull replacement. The operation was an incredible success. We feel like we have our daughter back. She's gaining in maturity and her personality on a daily basis. And she's even gone on to get back into her ballet shoes. We just want to say a massive thank you to everybody that has connected in with this story. For all of you who physically touched us as a family, we just want to say a massive thank you.
Thank you to so many of you whom we've never even met before, who have just carried this story, who have prayed and have helped us to keep hope alive. This is not our story or Kiara's story. We don't really know what to call it because it's a story of keeping hope alive and trusting in God and Him coming through for us. So thank you for carrying this story with us. We love you.